So if we say to ourselves, I'm going to go pick up milk from the grocery store for someone at home who asked for milk. And then we come home 3 days in a row. Oh, I forgot. Well, now we don't believe in ourselves, and we show up in that way with everything we do. The way we talk to ourselves is the first, sorry, I'm losing my voice. The way we talk to ourselves is the most important start to all things. All right. To all things. So let's start there. So if we work on that, that's going to help them show up more confidently and more often in front of other people. And then secondly,
you're listening to the First Class Life Show hosted by Lindsey Vertner, a holistic personal development show for high-achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So grab a drink, grab your notebook, and let's get started. Hey, First Class family. Welcome back to another episode of the First Class Life Show. I am your host, Lindsey Vertner, mindset expert and professional speaker. And I am really excited. And I know I say that all the time, but look, y'all already know how we roll here, okay? I am super excited for today's guest, lovely and beautiful Leilani Wells is here with us, and her energy is just vibrant. I love seeing her beautiful face pop up on my social media feed. And try saying lovely Leilani 5 times fast. Yeah. So I know that you are out there maximizing your impact while creating your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So we got to jump right into this conversation because I know you don't have time to waste, my dear. So welcome to the First Class Life Show, Leilani. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing amazing. I'm here with family.
And you are officially a VIP member in the First Class family, okay? Welcome. So I don't know when we initially got connected on the internet streets, and I've gotten the chance to see you via virtual and all of those good things. But I want you to share with the First Class family, who is Leilani really? Give us the good secret, friend. Who are you?
Let's see. I am, oh gosh, I guess there's a lot that people already know about me. So when people ask me, what don't we know, or who are the people, I'm like, didn't I already tell all my business? And I have to rack my brain to see what else haven't I told yet? And I think that a lot of people don't know how in love with nature I am, and how I absolutely crave the outdoors, which is really ironic being that I work online. I feel like I want to get one of those things where you put your laptop on it and you lay on the beach with the laptop. They started making stuff where you could go and you're at the park and you have your little stand open up and you put your laptop there. But I love, if I could go camping, hiking, boating, if I could be on a cruise or in the woods or next to a waterfall or anything, hug a tree. If I could just walk barefoot all day in the dirt, somewhere, I would just be in heaven. And the end goal for me is to have a beautiful home that I have my own gardens, chicken farm, by a lake or some sort of waterbed with a lot of trees and a lot of different types of animals. And just space for guests that I love to just come and visit. And that's the dream. So that's what comes top of mind.
Nice. Now you sound like you're pretty sure of yourself and knowing exactly what it is that you want. But we know that life is a journey, and that's not always the case. So have you always had this good sense of identity about yourself?
Yes and no. I think that I know myself and have known myself so well that it has made people uncomfortable. And so then it made me then question myself, you know what I mean? And I'm talking going way back to when I was 3 years old. I have memories as a 3-year-old understanding things that were happening around me that were going over people's heads. And I just kind of knew, I was just because I trusted my gut at 3 years old, you know what I mean? And other people around me were not just going by their gut. They were looking outside of themselves. And I was always like looking inside of myself, and trusting what I felt like, oh, this doesn't feel right, or this feels great. This is cool, or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's talk about that. Trusting your gut, because, you know, I talk about being reflective and being self-aware of not only how you impact your environment, but how your environment impacts you. And part of that is being able to trust those things that your body is telling you and recognizing that. So how would you describe the ability to be able to trust your gut now that you're older and can kind of understand that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's a process, you know, like you get to build confidence within yourself for literally like making choices that you said you were going to do, like actually seeing the follow through of it and completing things that you told yourself. It has nothing to do with other people. Like I say, I'm going to go, like, oh, okay, I love nature. If I say I'm going to go on a walk today and put everything aside and go on that walk, and I don't go on that walk, then I lack trust in myself. And then I don't believe my gut when my gut's telling me something that's obvious, right? I'm not connected to myself. And so I like having just amazing people in my life all over the place that give me incredible input. And I think it's really important to have those people in your circles. And in addition to that, being able to decipher that those people have things that they're working with and through. And sometimes they're coming to you with the best of intentions. Usually they are, or at least I think they are, right? So when you're looking inside yourself, it doesn't mean you don't listen to them. It means like, oh, what they're saying, does it resonate for me too? Right. So it's like a combo pack. It's like, okay, you got other people that you value in your life telling you things. And then it's like, how does it feel when it's coming at me, when that information is coming at me? And then you just roll with it from there. And then the proof keeps coming. Like, oh, this didn't go the way it was supposed to because I didn't trust myself. This did. And then other times too, I've had examples where I was supposed to do something. And normally people would say, yeah, well, there's proof you shouldn't have done it. But like, okay, well, look at what came out of like me learning through that experience. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a pleasant result to know that you took yourself down a right path, because that unpleasant result can come from, like, it can bring you such positive, incredible things that you don't know are coming. So it's something that comes over time.
And I like how you said that. So I want to kind of dive into that just a little bit more about, you know, it might not turn out the way you thought it turned out when you do trust your gut, but that doesn't mean that it was wrong in the end. Kind of like having that flexibility, like having the overall vision and goal in mind, and then the flexibility to be okay if it doesn't show up exactly the way you thought it should show up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not in a relationship with my son's father, but I have my son, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, you know? So like, it doesn't matter if like that portion of, oh, should I have dated him or shouldn't I have? Like, look at like the beautiful human being that resulted from this, you know? And so I think there's just so many layers to that. Like, which direction do I go? And I guess it's more than making decisions from your gut too. It's making those decisions yourself. Like the finality, like the final decision comes from you.
Nice. So in that same line of thinking, like knowing that you have the last say so for how your life is going to go, what would be some ways that you suggest, like, drowning out some of that noise from other people? Because sometimes we get so bogged down with the expectations of other people, the projections, the suggestions, the unsolicited advice from other people, that it's hard to even hear our gut. You get what I mean?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Like, I think that people, it's the unsolicited part that's key, right? It's like, I feel like it's a violation. Like, you know, like, did I ask you? Because I might not value your opinion. Like, you forcing your opinion on me, it's saying that you're a person of value, and it could be someone I don't even know. I don't, you know, or I do know and I don't value you. You're not a source that I would go to. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that I don't value, you know, all human life has value, right? But I'm saying like, sometimes people are coming from a space where people are thinking they don't have, they're talking to someone who won't take advice, but they're not taking into account that person never asked them, right? And so I think it's important for us to ask permission and then, or ask if someone wants that feedback. And then it opens the door for us to accept more from more people. Like, that's why I love making sure, like, when I give advice, even when people are asking me, I don't tell them what they should do. I say, let me know if this is an alignment for you, or here's some things that this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm hearing, and presenting them with opportunities to pick it like a buffet, pick what you feel you resonate with what I'm saying. And if I'm really in tune or trying to be in tune with where you're coming from, then I'm typically going to give you advice that you snatch up instantly, that it's not like, oh, none of that landed, right? Because I'm really coming for what's best for the person who asked. And that starts with, did they even ask?
Hey, I know it can be exhausting blazing the trail and creating a legacy. And you're at the point in your life where you desire peace and rest. You want to enjoy both the physical freedom and financial freedom to live life on your terms. You understand the importance of prioritizing your self-care. And you know that you're worthy of transformational experiences surrounded by other high-achieving, goal-oriented women just like you. That's why you deserve to be treated like VIP at the First Class Life Luxury Self-Care Retreat for Women. You deserve to show up and just be you. Away from the titles and roles that keep you busy from day to day. You deserve the luxury to fully unplug. It's time for you to embrace your first class life. Visit firstclassliferetreats.com to secure your VIP spot today, because you deserve it.
Yes. That makes me think about like Clubhouse times. I'm sure you're familiar with the Clubhouse app and everything. And, sometimes when audience members would have questions or things like that, and you go to answer the question, but you see something deeper. And so, like, if it were me that were speaking, I would always take a pause and say, is it okay if I offer this to you? Like, insert that, and I wait and I allow them to answer, like, yes, please share what it is that you would like to share. Especially if it's something that, might cause a little sting, because sometimes we don't want to hear the answer to what we already know to be true, right?
Right. Yeah. And your body tells you if it was already true. You feel it. Like, those triggers, when people say they're triggered, it's because their body was like, oh. And so that's another aspect of like, oh, there's some real room for growth here. Like, let's get excited. Like, if there's something that triggers me, I'm like, oh, okay. There's some step. If I choose to go and just move past it and feel what I'm feeling and just go with it and to explore why I'm feeling those things, then I can get to another level. So like I typically, not all the time, but typically I embrace those moments of being triggered, and say, this is something I'm going to tackle right now. or at 8 p.m. tonight, right now I got another phone call and I don't need to, like it's coming up in 10 minutes. I don't need to be a hot mess. You know what I mean? Like, let's, okay, schedule that. Mental note, 8 p.m. out in the walk in the grass with my feet bare.
Listen, the thing about triggers, it's really a time that we can lean in, like you said, to explore the potential for growth and healing, or it is to like deny and shy away and continue along that cycle and allowing your triggers to control you. So what would you say are some things that worked for you as far as effectively identifying your triggers?
Okay. So I think that the more and more like I up level like my way of being and myself, the way I come in business and life and who I am as a person, I've come to understand that I'm always going to be triggered. I'm not going to leave the earth with something, with a perfect human being soul. Like I'm always, there's always another thing you can get better at. And you're always going to notice, like once you've reached a certain point, I feel like I've come to the understanding that I'm always going to need to learn something. And whence, that might even be a word, hence whence, when I learn that I had been operating in a space that maybe was like harmful to someone else or harmful to myself or just not most effective or whatever, I'm going to be triggered because I'm going to feel like embarrassed for that old me. Mm-hmm. Right. And then I'm like, I get to release that and understand that like my ego is telling me that wasn't okay to be human. Like how ridiculous is that? Right. Let me just like work through that and then go to another level, another way of being. So I'm just an overall better human and I have a happier existence, plain and simple. Right. And so I guess I deal with that with logic and feeling my body, you know, and understanding and listening and saying, okay, I feel like, you know, I feel like I have, like, how do I put this? Like God's talking to us, you know, and if we're able to, the more we listen, then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to talk to you more because you're listening. And it's like, we don't get to hear it unless we make that decision to listen and then, you know, and just remain obedient to whatever he's telling us. And then, you know, and then we just listen some more, you know?
Yeah.
So
really honing in on that voice, you know, because I believe in God and I believe that, you know, he is desiring to talk to us all the time. And it's just a matter of us being willing to listen, you know, and identifying that, oh, wait, this is a moment that God is talking to me, right? And understanding that it doesn't come like a big, giant, roarous lion, like, this is God yelling down. And I think sometimes we forget that that's not how it shows up. And that's what we're waiting. Like, God, why aren't you talking to me? And he's like, well, I did. I told you this. And you just dismissed it. Or because it didn't show up like we expected it to, we dismissed it. Or because we didn't like the message or the messenger, we dismissed what was being said to us. And we didn't follow our gut.
And then I feel like I relate our gut to like tools that God gave us, like, you know, like parts like these synapses and these like feelings in our body, like these signs and all this stuff, like they were gifts and like we can use them and we can understand so much.
Much. And when we listen to those moments, like we never know who we're going to touch. And I can specifically think of 2 examples off the top of my head. I'll quickly share one of them where it was some years ago. I had this crazy, wild dream. And my grandma was in the dream. Now, mind you, my grandma had passed away when I was in high school. And not too long, maybe like a few months after, she appeared in one of my dreams. And since then, she'd never been in a dream ever since. And then a few years ago, I had just hired this new VA. And I was having some struggles with communication. Like she was really good at communicating. Then I didn't hear from her a little bit. And then when I had reached out to her, like, hey, what's happening? Like, are you okay? And all that stuff. She was telling me what had happened with her grandpa and, you know, someone passing away and all kinds of things just kind of going on. And how there was a big struggle in her family because some people were like, you should have left him on the monitors. And other people were like, no, he wanted to be taken off. And so there was a big fight and a lot of people feeling guilty and all that stuff. And then while I was on the phone with her, I heard that inner voice, very soft and very quietly say, tell her about your dream. This dream that I had a couple days prior, that I had no clue. It didn't make any sense to me. And I was so confused about it. But if I wasn't in tune with myself and trusting my gut and able to hear God's voice through me, I would have dismissed it. And I actually started to, like the first time I had the thought, I thought, why would I, like, why? And then that same small voice came again, tell her about the dream. And so then I recognized, all right, this ain't me. Like, let me be obedient. And I said, all right, we'll call her Sam. Sam, I have something I want to share with you. Take it how you want. It might sound a little bit crazy, but again, do with it what you need to do with it. And then I told her about the dream and what had happened. And when I was done, you could feel the energy on the phone. Like there was just a moment of silence. And like you could feel what was happening, even though she was clearly across the world somewhere. And then I gradually start to hear little sniffles. And then she started to mutter very quietly. She was like, you don't know how much that just helped me. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now, what if I would ignore that voice? And then she proceeded to say like why it helped her and how she's going to share that with her family and all of those things. But if I would have ignored that moment.
The people that are like listening to this and not watching it, like you just moved me to tears. Like I'm just like, I'm going like this. I'm fluttering my eyelashes like crazy right now, you guys. So it just like the floodgates are. That story was so moving that you just shared. And it's interesting that we're talking about grandmas right now. It's like really. I'm sitting here thinking about. I know I literally, Lindsey, just last night was having a conversation with my tia. She's in town, and she has, she was talking about, some relatives. I think, we're just having a conversation about family and stuff. And I started talking to her about my grandma, who's passed years ago when I was like in my early 20s or teenager-ish age, and I was telling her, how it was my grandma's favorite and all the memories that I had with her. Oh yeah, that's how it came up. She was talking about her favorite. I won't tell who it is. Right. But everyone knows I was my grandma's favorite. So my sisters are always like, they didn't like that. They already know. But yeah, so anyway, I was talking about my grandma and just I feel like she's with me sometimes, or I still talk to her. I've never stopped talking to her. Like on the other side, it's just like, I feel like she just got me and I got her. It just was one of those things, maybe she's like one of my, like one of my people, what do they call them? Like your soul family or whatever. Like, but she had gone through so much, and I was talking about that. And right now I'm in the middle of like working on everything I can do to break generational cycles that just don't work, and just eliminate them one by one and tackle all the difficult stuff. And I just feel like she's there for me in some way. I hope she is. I hope, it's not just a dream that one day I'll find out it was true, because I just remember her trying from the things that she, the generations and the things that were going on during that period in life from her. And I remember her doing certain things and accomplishing things, looking back from the age I'm at now to the age I was then, and the struggles she had, and with how many kids and the relationship and the options that, women have back then. So just interesting. So thank you for sharing that story yet again. Is Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And that just further proves listening to that voice, because when the stories first popped in my head, then it was like, okay, well, one, do I share or do I just keep moving the conversation along? And then once I decided, okay, yeah, share one, then it was like, which one of the two? And initially I'm thinking, well, the most recent one that happened a few months ago, but then something was like, no, share the first one. So just those moments, I like to call them God moments. When we listen to that little inner voice.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time you've had a moment like that and it was just completely blew your mind?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to think of one moment because I'm having them all the time now. Like now that I'm open, like my mind is blown. Like now that I'm like doing all the things that that are being placed for me from him. Like, just here you go. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't want to do that, but okay. Like, I don't want to say that, but okay. Like, especially the I don't want to say part. Oh my God. Like, it's just literally like, I'm speaking just without filter more frequently these days. And it's so scary to speak without filter while you're healing things, because people can see all your emotions when you're so unfiltered while you're in process of the healing. And that's something I've always been careful of, how I like show up unhealed on other people if I could harm them. But at the same time, there's another aspect, that there's another layer to that, is like being trusting of how they're going to handle you during those times that you show up while you're working through things, you know, because there are things that I've chosen to work through that are going to take potentially years to get to like a really, really beautiful, healed, fully healed place. Right. So I get to put myself out there and trust people I'm just meeting by posting all over the internet streets, you know, and not edit everything. You know what I mean? Like, okay, there's like, not only am I trusting that you're not going to comment on my perfect centric structure that I didn't work a million times to get to, but I also have to trust that, you know, I'm not posting something and make sure I get the full pizzazz, because it's like sometimes you go for that pizzazzy post where you get all that attention and like, oh, and shares and all these things. And then what happens is you're losing the pieces of it that were just like how this conversation's going. There's flaws and misspellings and me saying words wrong and all these things, but it's the essence that's there because of it. And that essence is what I'm allowing them to see, my essence. And that is so raw. Oh my, and that's so like, whew. And then it gets to the right people though. And it's what I teach, you know, with the visibility stuff, like this is how you do it. And that's that heightened, like scary, ooh, can I trust you? And you know what I learned? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's like, okay, you misused my trust, but I'm okay now. So I just delete, block, and I'm good to go. Like, at least I really know who's in my audience. Get them the heck out of here. Instantly. No, like warning, no, nothing. And so I'm like, oh, this is actually good in that way too. I was mishandled, but now I know who not to keep around because I was so raw. And I know it instantly. They're not like there for days, weeks, months, years. It's like, poof, first day in, handled it wrong. Bye-bye. You're gone. Right?
Looking for amazing products to help boost your first-class lifestyle? Then head over to firstclasslifeshop.com, where you can treat yourself to personal development books and workbooks, lifestyle affirmation cards, adult coloring books, mugs, notebooks, hoodies, t-shirts, leggings, and more. All products were designed to help you master your mindset, walk in your purpose, and live your first-class life because you deserve it. So treat yourself today at firstclasslifeshop.com. Again, that's firstclasslifeshop.com.
And I love that. I love that. How would you suggest being able to discern those moments whenever it's a good time to share? Because even though I'm still healing through it, I'm healed enough to share this moment, versus if I share this now, I'm potentially going to do damage to someone. So how would you best discern that?
I love that. I would say that you want to kind of feel like if something is for you or for someone else, or a combo. The combo is good too, right? So like I've learned to calm my nerves when I'm getting ready to go on stage speaking or emceeing or anything like that, because the audience gets to have the best of me, right? I am there for all these people who traveled and paid and, you know, got sitters for their kids and their dogs and their fish or whatever, like everything they did to be there in front of me, you know, and that is important to me, that they have an amazing experience. So if you think about it, so I'm sharing a story about a stage, but we're always on a stage of at least one guest, always on a stage when we go public, right? So if you think of everything as being on stage, it's like, who paid? And even if it wasn't using like money, a currency to pay, they are giving you their time, which is something they can never, ever get back.
Right.
So, and with the life I live, like that is my number one. Like if I give you my time, like I'm finding value in you. And if you mishandle that, then I'm going to place my time elsewhere next time. Right. And so I feel that I value everything through that lens now. Okay. So if I'm getting ready to go on that stage in front of people that are, this is real life and 200 people, 300, whatever, that before I go on stage, I go, it's not about you. This is a mantra I tell myself. It's not about you. I do my power poses and all this stuff, and I think about like what everyone in the audience needs, not like how this dress is like grabbing my fat roll here or whatever. You know what I mean? Or do I have, something going on? How do I look? Or how, they don't care about that. Like, what am I bringing to the table for all these people where they might have like a shift or some joy, some fun, something that makes them feel and like know that they're special and that there's someone in front of them that respects their time and thinks they're special too, that they matter to, right? And so I always look at everything through that lens, like, and sometimes I fail, sometimes I get in my feels, because sometimes the way you show up is not just for those other people, it's an exchange, right? Mm-hmm. So just understanding that you're doing the best you can, and where you falter, it's just a reflective, self-aware thing, like, oh, okay, I was just like, feeding my ego or doing this or that. Like you can always correct, and if you're consistently doing everything in good integrity and the best you can, then people will go by what they've traditionally seen based off of one moment that you have wrong, because you're like family at that point, like we forgive craziness in our family because they're there, they're a fam, we love them, whatever, but like over, so if they do one thing off, it's not like, okay, bye. You did me wrong. No, look at all those times you did right by me.
Right. Mm-hmm. I love that. And, as we're talking about just sharing and, going through that healing process along the way, you said earlier about, just being seen and being vulnerable, because you do have to have this sense of vulnerability to share the things that you've gone through. So what would you say to that person that doesn't have the courage to share? They've gotten the urge. They've been resisting the urge. They're hearing it, but they are ignoring it because they're worried still about what people will think, about how it will be received. They're still essentially in their ego, if we're going to be real, right?
Yeah.
So how would you say is like some of the ways it's worked for you to push past that fear and really have the courage to show up and be vulnerable or be seen?
Yeah. Well, so I'll give some quick tangibles here. I mean, number one, respect, like, and show love to the ego side of you. Like, it's there for a reason. So just show some love to it and be like, you know what? Okay, let's do a little something for it. And then before we go full on, let's like switch gears here, right? Mm-hmm. And so like a great thing is to understand you do get to have confidence builders. You do get to like pat yourself on the back for some things. And that is serving everybody else as well, right? And so making sure that we're building strong trust within ourselves, for ourselves, for consistency in how we do what we say we're going to do to ourselves. So if we say to ourselves, I'm going to go pick up milk from the grocery store for someone at home who asks for milk. And then we come home 3 days in a row. Oh, I forgot. Well, now we don't believe in ourselves and we show up in that way with everything we do. The way we talk to ourselves is the first, sorry, I'm losing my voice. The way we talk to ourselves is the most important start to all things. All right. into all things. So let's start there. So if we work on that, that's going to help them show up more confidently and more often in front of other people. And then secondly, and this is something that I do a lot of coaching on, which is like a long-term understanding, but just to give you a little snippet, a nugget of understanding that when you go out publicly on the social media internet streets, they're different environments. All things aren't the same. What people disassociate themselves with social media is that like, oh, I don't like social media. Well, do you like communicating about your life and your business and your passion and your purpose? Well, yeah. Well, isn't social media communication at the highest level? Oh, yes. Social media is communication. So how can we better communicate? Well, we can better communicate when we feel like we're in a safe environment. The people who get the very best of us and multiple dimensions and layers and all of that is the people that we feel the safest with. So some people that know us and different times, if they mistreated like that trust, they never got every aspect of our beings. That's why some people feel like they don't know us, because we didn't share all of that with them when they didn't create that space. So what we get to do is find those spaces within the platforms, those environments that we trust. So for example, I may not feel safe on Facebook going live because someone went crazy and I was live and I didn't know how to figure out the tech fast enough to boot them out, whatever. But I feel safe in an Instagram story because it's only up for 24 hours and I can see who looks at me and all these things. So let me put up an Instagram story. I won't go on Facebook Live. Instead of like, no, I'm not going to communicate today on social media, and then doing nothing at all. You see? Mm-hmm. This is very important, this part, what I'm talking about. I hope people, like, if they don't take anything from this aspect of our conversation, they take that, because it's a game changer. Go where you feel safe, and you're going to connect the most, because you're going to give more of yourself to people, and they're going to trust you more, and then they can become your clients more frequent, faster, and more, all the things.
That is good. And that just goes to the sentiment that, like, you don't have to be in all the places. And if that's not your thing, then that's fine. But find the thing that is for you. Like you said, maybe it's not Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, or maybe it's LinkedIn, or maybe it's YouTube or some other platform, online and offline. Like maybe you don't feel safe in this space of people, but you do in that space of people. And so spending your time in that space where you can have the opportunity to grow and heal and share and do all the things you need for your own personal journey.
Yeah. And I hope nobody's throwing this out the window with the whole let's feel safe kind of thing. Cause like, I know it might sound dramatic for people who are not maybe at that space of knowing that you get to feel like safe in your feelings too, right? That matters. But how about we use also the word comfortable, if that lands better for some? Like you get to feel comfortable. You get to feel at home. Okay, these conversations that you open yourself up to get to feel as peaceful and accommodating as you want them to feel. It can happen. It's just that in order to do that, we get to facilitate these environments with people that we can co-create with, that are on that same page of having respect for us and understanding. And, sometimes that doesn't come from strangers, and sometimes it actually can, like you can get so good at that block, delete, unfriend button and friend request and understanding that you build these people that you've never met and get to future meet, all throughout the internet, and grow your business. And that's an email list as well. Like there's tools to watch, like who's paying attention to you now as well. So you can see what's resonating, you can see what's not, all of that, you can kind of get a gauge and, move in a more connected way. Like I was talking about on a different interview about, the book, The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. Have you read it?
I got it over there.
Okay, well, you know more about it because I haven't read the whole book. I took but I need to have the speed of trust. And I ran with it. I read like chapter 1 or something. And I always tell people that, I have a bunch of books and I take things from each of them and I don't finish all of them. But anyway, my point in bringing that up is that it works. Like if you deal with people that you trust, then you cut your time down to a quarter. Like you cut away 3/4 worth of nonsense and wasting your time because you're not like asking them a bajillion questions all the time before getting the work started because you already have that trust built.
Mm-hmm. Dealing with trust, that made me think of a question around that because, sometimes you come across those people and they're like, oh, I don't trust nobody. This happened to me. That's why I don't trust nobody but myself, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. What they really don't trust is themselves.
Oh, I dropped. I feel like that answered the question that I didn't because I was about to say, like, what does that person do? What is it? Are they running from something? How do they, get past that I can't trust anybody phase and really open themselves up? Like, because they're missing a whole lot by, shutting everyone out like that.
It's kind of like how alcoholics and addicts have a rock bottom. Mm-hmm. They, you can't get through to someone like that. Like they have to have their own rock bottom to realize the issue is them. Like I used to wonder, like it was like such a warning flag to me when I'd come across women who said, "Oh, I don't trust women. I don't have any women friends," and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be mean. But I knew the issue was them because what woman doesn't want to be friends and honor other women? Like, so you don't love being a woman yourself. You don't love yourself. Like who doesn't want to have women in their life to like dance with, cook with, drink with, like whatever, like play games with, talk with, like walk with, like travel with, like all the things. Like we're so fun when we hang. Right. So, and we get each other and we get to like support each other, care for each other's like kids, like nieces, this is my auntie and all these things. Like you don't want any of that. Really? Then there's something going on in there. Right. And so that I just see it as like, I can't even touch it. Like you gotta care enough. And if I told you anything, you wouldn't listen because you'd think it was a lie. Like sometimes I gotten around people and been so real that they think I'm fake because they're coming from a place of fake for so long. So not even just fake, like surface level. And I am so raw in like, not in a serious way, just in any way. Whatever I'm feeling, that's how you get me. Right. And that's a space where you are open to be hurt. But I know that is not a bad thing. Like, we can move through it and we can't have the better parts of life without being open to being hurt. Like there's just no way around it because we're all learning, so we don't have the roadmap, but yeah, those people, they get to start with themselves.
And it's so funny that you brought up the women friends thing because I was thinking along those same lines as that piece of the conversation started to go because, I feel the same way whenever I hear women say, oh, that's why I don't have friends, blah, 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 for some of those same sentiments. And it's like, wow. I feel really bad for you that you don't get to experience all of the same things that you said. And then that situation with the young lady that was in the news recently in recent months about going to Mexico and her group of friends murdering her. That did not help all of those people that feel that way because it only, you could see it in all of the social media comments where it only further enforced, this is why I don't trust people and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, I hope you can heal from that. And it's like.
Yeah, but they had evidence to the contrary, way more than that. I've never seen anything like that in my life. You know what I mean? Like how many people, like they don't need to run with that one. Why are they running with that?
Because it was right there, and they're like, "Let me take. I'm going to focus on it. It's going to prove my point. I'm going to dismiss all the other things that I see right here in the news. So I'm going to use it to prove my point that people can't be trusted." And it's like, you got to work on the discernment.
Right?
There's that word again, the discernment on not ignoring the red flags of who can be trusted and not. Because I'm sure there were probably red flags at some point along her journey of that quote unquote friendship.
Yeah, there's no way you're not going to see your girlfriends coming to murder you. Like, I mean, you might not see them coming to murder you, but you're not going to, there's no way that she did not know that they weren't her friends. Like that girl that was murdered by those people. And I hope that like her family doesn't hear me saying these things because it's a little stinging and raw, you know, because it's not her fault. You know, it's not her fault. That shouldn't happen to her. And at the end of the day, we have signs when people are not for us, you know, and all I'm saying is what's sad about that is that was a situation where they were not protecting her. They were not caring for her. And maybe she needed to feel something. She felt that she needed to feel something to stay around people like that and travel with people like that. These people that did that, they're going to go through hell when they like uncover and they process what they've done to her. They have a lot of road ahead of them to like, you know, that is just wild. And those people also looking at the story saying, see, that's why I don't trust you. That's why I don't trust. They're picking a situation that's like a 0.0001%. Like
right.
Heard of, you know,
a big extreme.
A big extreme. Like my girlfriends, like they wouldn't like even like say anything bad about me, let alone. I mean, well, they might say something bad about me, but you know what I mean? They wouldn't do anything near like it did. Like it's the complete opposite, you know, it's just like the biggest support system. I couldn't have been like, I don't know how I would have lived without the way some of the women in my life show up for me. Like it's absolutely incredible. You know, I'm very, very grateful. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to reiterate to everybody tuned in right now, once again, we are not blaming the young lady. Rest her soul, and definitely condolences and prayers to the family of that young lady. This is just a message for anyone. Like, don't ignore the red flags, whether intimate, platonic, professional, with any relationship that you have in your life, not to ignore the red flags.
No,
you know,
she did not deserve that.
Right. Yeah. So, whoa, listen.
Why don't we go there? Can you just edit that out? I just saw them chop up the thing the other day, like to make it sound like, what was this thing? The football player the other day. There was somebody talking about how the guy intercepted or whatever, and then they plucked it out like he was blaming them, and he was just like recounting and answering their question, and they plucked, the editing team went and they like made this whole thing, and I was just like, that is wrong. Like,
oh, man.
Wild. Like,
anyone does that with any clips of these, you don't know who I got in my corner, okay?
Right.
Please don't take it out of context. This is
Right.
healing and growth for all. But that's one reason why I love this show, because that's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we heal. That's how we develop. We have to talk about the real stuff.
Yeah.
We have to get raw about it. Otherwise, we're just going to keep continuing those same cycles.
You
know?
I love your earrings.
What a way to break the ice. They've just been hopping around joyful. I'm in my head. And for those of you that are tuned in via audio only, I'm very animated, so make sure you watch on YouTube so you can see.
I think I feel so comfortable, y'all, because she looks like someone from my family. Like we look like we're related. I'm like, whoa.
We could be, you know.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Are you loving the First Class Live Show? Then join our private Patreon community. Not only will you help to support our ability to provide you with great content, but you can also get exclusive perks like bonus videos and resources, discounts, episode transcripts, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join today at patreon.com/firstclasslife. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/firstclasslife.
I think that this will be a great time to play a fun game that I like to call First Class Favorites. Are you down?
I'm down. You got me going down all the paths today.
Yes, with this game, all you have to do is fill in the blank. I'm going to ask you your favorite ... You fill in the ... Easy peasy, right? Only catch is you got to answer in 10 seconds or less. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
No pressure,
all right.
no pressure.
Here we go.
So, it's really easy though, okay? And then if you miss the buzzer, you got to think of a consequence for everyone.
Oh, okay. I pick my own consequences?
Whatever you pick is going to apply to all of us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You, all the First Class family that's tuned in right now, everyone.
Okay. I'm just going to roll.
It's a matter of perspective though, right? Because what may be a consequence to person A might be a positive consequence to person B, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like push-ups. I hate those. I don't like working out. So if you tell me to do 2 push-ups, it might be 2, but I'm going to be side-eyeing you like, you are not my friend. But to somebody else that loves working out, they're going to be like, oh, I can knock that out with 2 eyes closed and my hands behind my back, literally, right? So we'll start with something easy. Let's see. What is your favorite season of the year? Go.
I want to say winter.
See? You had 5 seconds left to spare.
I know. It really makes you focus in on your initial feeling because you have no time. So it's like the truth. That is, I love that. Okay. I didn't even know that was my favorite season. I'm not even joking. I did not. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You don't have time to think about, well, what does this person think? Or what will they say if I say this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All that is gone out the window. So why is winter your favorite season?
The snow, the flakes, the hot chocolate, the fireplaces, the option to fly somewhere else and get any other season, and then come back to the snow and the snowflakes and have that shock to your body afterwards. The cabins and the jacuzzis where you get in and you get out and you're freezing, but you could be in a jacuzzi with like snowflakes falling on you at the same time.
I love that imagery.
Yeah, there's just and then driving when the snowflakes are coming at your car. That's fun. Just yeah. The snuggles. When you have someone to snuggle with.
Okay, give me the heat all day, every day, except the way you just described it, I'm like, well, maybe I should reconsider. Next one. What is your favorite song? Artist and title, go.
Okay. Well, I guess right now, right now it's been Bill Withers' Lovely Day. So I'll just go with that. But it's usually Lionel Richie songs in general. Who I share a birthday with.
Right? Oh, nice. Nice. And you barely made the buzzer. Like you just were ending the buzzers and didn't the buzzer enough. So that one, you made it. What is your favorite place to travel specifically? Go.
Miami.
Why you didn't like Miami?
The culture, the way everyone shows up on 10, the vortexes you can go and you can feel like the energy, the feel of the weather, like the moisture in the air, and it's so good for your hair and your skin and all that. And just like the fact that when you go there, there's people that are from like multiple different countries and almost everyone speaks Spanish. I just love it, but they all speak other languages too, a lot of the times. And people are just migrating there from all over the place. But again, like they all are showing up on a 10, like if they're casual, they're dressed in like the best casual wear. Like people are really coming with care with their appearance and their energy and their vibe and stuff. Yeah, and it's a great place to travel in and out of to other places. Like I just took a cruise out of there to the Bahamas. So I had the Miami experience the day before, and then we went on a cruise after that. So yeah, Miami. That's right now too, because it shifts. My favorite place shifts.
Right. We're ever evolving, right? Right.
Yes.
What's your favorite book, title, and artist? Or author?
Okay, again, I just told y'all that I don't read the whole books, like all the books. I have books everywhere. So many books. Fun story. Okay, I'm not going to make this 10 seconds. Let's see my favorite book. Yeah, I'm not going to make that one. I'm not going to make that. You got me on the book. I don't know. I don't read, y'all. No.
What the book that
The Power of Intuition.
Ah.
by Dwayne Dwyer. I always mess up his last name, but God rest his soul. But yeah, his book, Power of Intuition, was that was the last book I read beginning to end, fully in it. Like I didn't just like go through it and read it and like my mind wander and not retain it. Like that was the last one I read years ago, like all in. I think I read it twice and it changed things for me. Shifted. Since then, I have books everywhere, and I just pick chapter here and there and go and switch it up all the time.
And it's
so you have a consequence coming, though. Don't worry. Am I stalling?
Think of it. You missed the buzzer. So,
okay.
What is our consequence?
Okay, can I have an example of how that goes? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. So, like, here's some of the past consequences that we've had. Taking a shot of whatever kind of liquor. And if you don't drink alcohol, then a shot of herbal tea. I don't know.
Okay.
Giving a compliment to someone you're not fond of has been something.
Oh, I'm not.
Journaling for 20 minutes.
Okay.
You have to walk at least 10 minutes per day for the next week. Yeah, let's see what else. 10 push-ups. I think somebody did burpees. I was so glad they did not miss any buzzers. Okay.
Does all this have to happen like right now, like with me attached to the mic and everything, whatever? Well, actually, no, it can't. Because I'm walking 10 minutes. What am I going to do? Okay, got it. And I'm giving this consequence to everyone, not just myself. So anyone that hears this gets to do this along with me. Okay, so let's think about what would be best for them. All right. Here's the consequence. We all get to show up on our stories every day for the next 10 days and give something of value to whoever we want to give value to.
Okay.
And that is not just one story on Instagram, but it's Instagram and Facebook. So you're going to do stories on Instagram and Facebook every day for 10 days straight.
Got it. Stories on Instagram and Facebook every day for 10 days straight, which means if you have an account, log it in. Okay. If you don't have an account, that's your only exception. But as of right now, if you're listening to this, if you have an account on either platform, it's a story for the next 10 days on both. Got it. And I've been really bad about posting these last couple, going on 2 months now. So I'll take it.
You know, I have an idea. Sorry to interrupt. Why don't,
go ahead.
It's okay. Why don't they tag you in it when they do it? Will you tell them your Instagram so they can tag you and prove that they are following along the consequence of my actions?
Podcast. Tag Lindsey Vertner, tag Leilani Wells. Listen, you can tag us all, okay? Because they're going to be right over there in the show notes. So don't act like you don't know our Instagrams or our Facebooks. It's our names. And if you don't know how to spell it, just click on the show notes, okay? And if you're driving, after you pull over. Yes, way to hold the accountability piece, right? Because we're in this together. Okay, I have one more for you. Two more. What is your favorite activity to do to relax? Go.
Bathe.
Oh, that was easy. Like a shower or a bath or
Bathe.
either one.
Bathe. Candles, bubbles, wine, petals, whatever I can put in there. It's like whatever, rock salts, like whatever, like the whole shebang. And just like until I'm wilted, I just would just bathe. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm overdue for one of those as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one you might have an answer for, might not. But what is your favorite joke?
I don't know. Do I have a favorite joke? We're getting more consequences right now. and you know, I post memes like 10 times a day and I don't have a favorite joke. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably more controversy that I'd be risking if I told my favorite joke right now. I've already said enough on this episode.
Well, thank you for playing First Class Favorite Things. And listen, everyone, if you're not a member of our private Patreon community, please make sure that you click the link to join, because you get access to our First Class Favorite Things list that is uniquely curated by our phenomenal guests. We have our reading list if you like to read, and if you don't, Leilani. We have our music list. So we have our musical playlist. We have our favorite places to travel, because we're a cultured people, of course. And because we prioritize self-care, we have our relaxing activities to do, all uniquely created by our phenomenal guests. So if you want access to our First Class Favorite Things list, make sure you join our private Patreon community, where you can get that. You can get bonus videos where all the gems are being dropped, and other resources as well. Okay? So let's get back into this discussion. I can't believe we've already went this long, but that's what happens when you're having good flow and good conversation. The time just flies by, right? So for those of you that are new to the First Class Life show, then you may not be aware that First Class Life is actually an acronym that stands for all of the characteristics and skills that you want to try to embody into your lifestyle. And we're only human. You're not going to have all of them all the time, but you want to work on them on a regular basis, and really, be intentional about incorporating them so that you can create your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. And if you want to know what that acronym stands for, then you can do one of two things. You can either go and listen to the very first episode of the First Class Life show, where I explain each of them in detail, or you can visit firstclasslifeshop.com and buy the book, First Class Life, 10 Key Factors to Creating a Life Full of Purpose, Fulfillment, and Happiness, where I explain them all in detail, complete with examples and whatnot. Meanwhile, lovely Leilani, which key factor of First Class Life do you resonate with the most?
Let me think. I just have to say real quick, you are so fun. So cool. So cool. Okay, so which one do I resonate with the most? Oh, my eyes keep going to self-worth.
Why'd you pick that one?
It's like a learning for me right now. So it's like the present vibe, I think, is me understanding the importance of my self-worth, that like I finally have the tools, and I'm finally learning how to understand and grow my self-worth in ways that I didn't get, like, in an upbringing format, like what you see on television kind of way. Right. And so I get to kind of like place importance on that and understand at the highest level that you can understand, like, your worth. Like, we are all worthy. We all are special and wonderful. And why would I be excluded from that? Right. Why would anyone be excluded from that? That's an everybody kind of thing. We're all worthy. Right. And so understanding, and the more you understand your self-worth, the more you understand how you impact others, because others can see our worth when we can't. And so sometimes if we don't think our voice matters because we don't think we matter, then we can be hurtful to other people. So we're just like impacting ourselves and others in a negative way when we don't understand our self-worth. And so I think it's very important for, the growth for us to always expand on our self-worth and always like, really, really understand how awesome we are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Now, I know that you help people to be seen and do all the things and help them to see their worth. So share with us, how do you impact the world as a leader today?
Yeah. So, I help people through my Get Seen programs. And so depending on where they're at in their business, I help them with not just resources, but getting to the meat and potatoes of why they haven't accessed the resources yet. Like, why aren't they showing up? Why aren't they being more visible? And if they are being visible, why aren't they doing it in a connective way yet? Like, why are they hiding, and what are they hiding behind, all of that stuff? So let's get clarity on that. Let's fine tune our signature programs, and let's really connect with other like-minded individuals who will support us in the process, get us linked up to proper individuals that'll help put us on stages and do different things. So I have a membership, a Get Seen membership, a Get Seen mastermind, a Get Seen podcast. And I have recently started Get Seen LinkedIn audio events. And then I do another side of my business where I help business owners, where I do like a done with you type of service. And I go and create content with them, like video them, do content days with them, get them set up with a photographer, all of that. And that's like, that is a few people a year I do that with, and it's really fulfilling for me. So those are some of the ways. I also MC and speak on stages for people who ask me that's really in alignment, like their audiences, them, and what they stand for, and time permitting and all of that. Then I do that as well. I think I listed everything. I'm not sure, but I think so.
No worries. And you have a cheat sheet to share?
I do,
right?
yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I have a visibility cheat sheet, and you just click your freebie. I'm not going to say standard. There's nothing standard in it. So like on the cheat sheet, it's really just showing you, like, talking about some of the things that I talk about, like how to be more visible, some of the tangible like deliverables, and some of the internal things as well. And it's a great way to get started and learn more about me and grab the cheat sheet.
Nice. Now, let us know how everybody can reach you, follow you respectfully in these internet streets.
Not stalkily.
Right. That's what I wouldn't say follow you, but in a non-creepy kind of way.
Awesome. Okay. So I would say my handle at Leilani M. Wells is all across the board on all the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, all the things, Twitter and TikTok and stuff. However, my website you might want to start with, and that's leilaniwells.com. So I think it's just important to know how to spell my name, and you'll find me wherever you want to find me, which is Lei, like the lei from Hawaii. My name means heavenly flower, or flower from heaven. Lei, and then Lani means heaven, so just think La-L-A. All right, you just need to know how to spell my name right, that's all.
Flower from heaven, and you are quite the joy. Yes.
Oh, likewise. I feel like you are just so much fun. I'm like, thank you for this.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Okay. LeilaniWells. All right.
Yes. And on social, middle initial M for Murray.
Ooh, y'all got that? Leilani Wells and Leilani M. Wells. And if you missed it, you can hit rewind or just go to the show notes and click away for your preferred platform. So thank you so much, Leilani. This has been amazing. Is there any final piece of advice you would like to share to help us create our first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness?
Yeah, go do something nice for yourself today.
Yeah. For me, that is eating my second snickerdoodle cookie of the day.
That must be special because you counted. You're like, this is number 2. I get to have number 2 3/4, but not 3. I get like you. I feel like you have a system for these snickerdoodles.
Well, I had one earlier already, and I started to pick up 2, and I was like, no, girl, because you're going to be in this bucket all day long. So Thank you, thank you. And thank you, First Class family, for tuning in for another fabulous episode of the First Class Live Show. I know you could be doing anything in the world, but you have spent the last hour here with us, and we truly appreciate it. So continue to go out there, maximize your impact, and create your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, because you deserve it. Bye.
Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But please be sure to subscribe to the First Class Life Show. And don't forget to rate, leave a review, and join our private community so that we can continue to provide you with great personal development conversations to help you maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it.